So, after taking down the entire Russian mob and whatever I did in my second and third movies, I felt like it was finally time to relax, unwind, and hopefully meet another dog. Also, I'm Keanu Wick, and this is the story of how I drowned in the ocean doing my intro. After my dog managed to collect all of the Dragon Balls, however, I was wished back to Earthrealm where I found myself atop a rickety old fishing boat. I wasn't sure whether it was my sexy red coat and the tight leather pants I was wearing that really hugged the fanny, but it seemed like the world knew who I was, both an immovable object and an unstoppable force. The world itself was moving around me. Literally. Or it could have just been that all of this was in my head and the result of way too much crack cocainus. And given the fact that I was wearing the Weekend's jacket, I tend to believe that I'm actually a mermaid. Tremendously disappointed by the fact that none of the locals down at the jetty came to greet me or to ask for my autograph, I felt like the only reasonable thing to do was knock out everyone's teeth. Before moving further inland though, I spotted yet another local fishing at the end of the adjacent jetty. Again, not sure if tripping, but I could swear I saw a big red and white target on his ass that was begging me to kick it. That look of sheer terror I shall never forget. Probably not the right career choice though, eh mate? Now that pretty much every clause in the Geneva Convention had been heinously broken and every imaginable war crime committed, I was ready to head into the jungle, eat the head off a poison dart frog, and get into holiday mode. Keanu Wick don't play no sh. With all this free time up my sleeve, however, I had to find constructive ways to spend it. Fortunately, Ambrose Island had that in abundance. Upon closer inspection, however, I soon realized that these people were partaking in the ultimate test of alpha manliness. The age-old sport of clapping cheeks, where one man had to clap another man's cheeks as hard as he could until the other man surrendered and gave in, declaring the other man the ultimate cheek-clapping champion. Naturally, I put my flaming torch down in the middle of the wooden table and got ready to put my cheek-clapping abilities to the test. After all, I was on vacation, and these cheeks needed clapping. One by one, I brutally, savagely, and relentlessly clapped the cheeks of every man that dared challenge me, knocking most of them to the floor with a level of finesse clearly never seen before on this island. Militia, pirates, it made no difference. Clap, 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 clap. Even one of the locals wanted to have a go, but he knew he effed up, illustrated by the fact that he refused to make eye contact before his eyes were literally launched out of his head and to the other side of the island. Anywho, now that I'd clapped the cheeks of pretty much every pirate and soldier on the island, the locals loved me. People cheered and chanted my name long into the night. It also drew the attention of one of my targets, Green Clothes Man. This was him, and it appeared that he wanted to meet with me to discuss my skills. Cheek clapping skills. Then, having conquered the cheek clapping scene, it only made sense that I relinquished my crown and headed off to discover my next opportunity on Ambrose Island. On the way, I got distracted by a drunkard on the beach who seemed somewhat depressed. I figured that he probably felt like his glass was half empty or something. I, however, was determined to make it full empty, so I gave him my brand new iPhone Pro Max destruction. And now that I was no longer distracted, I headed to Green Clothes Man to talk about whatever it was he wanted to talk about. But I got distracted again. And ended up following him into some dark hole underneath a cargo container where he tried to force me to date his mum. I rewound time once more and found myself a screwdriver, which I then used to puncture the oil barrel where I knew that he'd be standing. Now, needless to say, I had every intention of chucking my flaming torch into the puddle of oil while he was standing in it, sending him up in flames for a big ha-ha funny moment, but he cracked out a durry and did it himself. Watching him stand there still like a statue as he made his last carbon footprint, I couldn't help but wonder, how did nobody here smell the 500 liters of oil that was all over the ground? It didn't matter though, because he was alive again and apparently meeting with my other target to discuss the terms of their partnership. In order to make that meeting happen though, I needed to activate the butt signal. I wasn't a pirate though, which meant that getting into the pirate compound was not going to be easy. What was easy though was drowning this chap in 2 millimeters of water. Strange. I sniped the butt signal tower guard with my pistol from a distance, then very cleverly used the radio tower in the outpost to lure all the workers to their untimely but ultimate demise. Then finally I went full killer chiropractor on the guard at the base of the butt tower. Then just like that, I was now the legendary Wick 47. Quickly, I scaled the tower like a monkey with a banana up his ass, then hit the switch to activate the butt signal and got ready to make my move. Also, this guy was already dead, so tossing him off the tower was completely unnecessary, but also so necessary. With haste, I sprinted out of the pirate base into the cliffside opposite, where I felt confident that I'd get a clear, unobstructed view of the meeting taking place. As expected, there they were, standing next to a giant canister full of gas. Silly sausages. I, however, had a better idea. I mean, a bullet is good, but a cannonball is great. I recalled from my previous foray on Ambrose Island a treasure chest down on the beach containing cannonballs, gunpowder, and of course, a pirate costume. After all, who doesn't love a little bit of Captain Keanu? There was a problem though, and that problem was that the cannon I was looking for was located deep in the ruins of the enemy's militia base. And getting inside was not going to be easy. Unless, of course, you shoot everyone, then slip in during all the confusion. I then stuffed my ginormous lead balls into the cannon and got ready to blow my targets up as they huddled together on the other side of the island, completely oblivious to the fact that a piece of maritime history was pointed directly at them. Then some fool ran up on me, so I shot him in the pink. Truth be told, I'm not really sure what happened next, but I found myself back in the restaurant again with Green Clothes Man right in front of me, gagging to be pushed 1 meter to his doom. So I did it. Having done almost everything else on the island though, I went to introduce myself to the lady with the white stuff all over her face. They say she owned the bar and she asked me to go find some coconuts for her. Fortunately, while I was out snapping off a cheeky log in the middle of the jungle, I happened to find one, so I picked it up and headed back to the bar to give it to her.
I can tell you've worked with these before.
She then sent me out on another job to dig up a bunch of cigars, but it was so very well hidden that frustration eventually got the better of me and I ended up whacking everyone I saw in the face with a shovel instead. After there was literally nobody left to knock out, however, I finally found what I was looking for. It was right underneath my nose all along. It was my pet. They also found this nice couple just chilling and enjoying each other's company, and I immediately knew what I had to do. Mama Farah was impressed with my Lewinsky-level cigar detection skills and sent me out on one more quest. This time to locate Mr. Shu, a Chinese man that she thought was hidden in the ruins. I knew that dressing up as a hippie and pretending I was high would be a good explanation if the militia happened to capture me and ask me what the hell I was doing in their base in the middle of the night. What the hell? And as high as I may or may not have been, I was still willing and able to cut a fool and shoot a fool. Go meet your maker. And break into a jail cell, which literally nobody has ever said ever. Looking over to my right, however, I saw Mr. Shu looking pretty not alive. So I took a happy snap, then went to sit outside so I could charge up my tantric energy for the battle that was just about to take place. In my pants. Hey! Then, with the flick of a wrist, I tossed a ginormous block of C4 at the militia's refrigerator and destroyed all of their bottled breast milk. Before leaving though, I hopped onto the heavy bag to show all of my Twitch followers, who were watching me on the monitor behind me, how good I was at kicking ass. With that done, I went back to Mama Farah and told her the good news, and then showed her the cool picture I took. She said she was going to go and tell the pirate lady or something. I assumed the meeting location was out of bounds, so I lobbed my other magic phone into the room and teleported myself in just before the door closed. Obviously I got noticed, so I panicked, and then I threw the phone at Mama Farah, causing her to drop and break the lovely coconut I'd given her earlier. Talk about shattered. As it turned out, however, the area wasn't out of bounds after all, and was a publicly accessible location that was part of the bar. So I watched and I listened, and I found out that Pirate Lady was super mad that Green Clothes Guy killed Mr. Shu in the dungeon with the candlestick. So she called in Green Clothes Guy to meet with her, and I threw in a Molotov cocktail to heat things up a little bit. Got a little bit too hot though. After that, I kind of just followed these two around as Pirate Lass tried to bump off Green Clothes Man in various locations around the island. This one was pretty cool because it was kind of like dominoes but with people. I then recalled that hippie guy who turned out to be a smuggler actually had a scheduled meeting with Madam Pirate. Getting back into the pirate compound, however, was no simple task this time around, as the pirates had all gone on strike in protest of more grog, and therefore nobody was available to open the gate when I rang the doorbell. Fortunately, however, I was magic, or I was just really, really high. I don't know. And I kind of just flew my way up the side of the mountain on my mobile phone. It was an iPhone though, so it probably really happened. After I managed to get inside though, I waited very patiently for her at the meeting point, and this is what happened.
I do what it takes to get what I need.
Oh, we have that in common. If you're interested, I need you to take the cargo to a dead drop point due west of here. That hippie dirtbag actually ditched me.
What the hell do you think you're doing here? Get out of here.
I took that grumpy old man's warning as a sign that I should probably get out of here. And so, I went back once more to where it all began. I used my magical full moon powers to get to the top of the roof so I could watch the fireworks one last time before returning back home. It was sick.